And away we go. Another episode of Philly Exchange. I am Sean Brace, joined as always by John Jansen. Today is December 19th. It is a Tuesday. It is not a happy day here in the Delaware Valley.
The holidays are right around the corner, Sean.
Ho, ho, ho.
It's the weekend before It's the week before Christmas.
And the Seahawks completely took away our Christmas like the Grinch.
Took away the Christmas joy.
You're a mean one. Pete Carroll. All right, it is Philly Exchange, where we are debating the Philadelphia sports topics that everybody is discussing. And to say the least, there's going to be a lot of Eagles conversation in this episode. John Jansen, you ready to go?
I am ready to go. There's a lot to sort through with the Eagles, Sean Brace. A lot.
We'll see if we can do our best here. All right, question number one here. 5 questions coming your way, all in the world of Philadelphia sports. Number one, I'll come to you, John Jansen. Sinking in Seattle. You like what I did there?
That was pretty good.
The Philadelphia Eagles.
And it was like raining a little bit too. We were sinking here. All the floods happening around here.
It was more about myself than anything.
Oh, you're sinking. Okay.
Eagles went out to Seattle in a must-win game, and they ended up losing 20-17. Drew Lock went 10 plays, 92 yards for the go-ahead score. Spread was all over the place because of the Geno Smith news. Bottom line, it went off at about 3.5. Eagles 3.5-point favorites for most spots. Total way under the 47.5 at kick, 45 most spots throughout the course of the week. Final score 20-17. Just a tough loss. Now 3 straight for the Philadelphia Eagles. John Jansen, to you, who do you blame for last night's Eagles loss?
Yeah, I don't think you're going to let me get away with just an entire unit. So I will
try me.
I will direct this to coaching, but it's the small details really that they're just getting wrong over and over again. You know, we can point to some of the turnover things that are happening, and those are issues. And Jalen Hurts, I just saw the win probability and how much win probability is being affected by quarterback turnovers. Jalen Hurts by far is having the most costly turnovers in the NFL this season. So turnovers, you can blame Jalen Hurts for that. I get it. But that's just within these small details. Jalen Hurts doesn't have to be aggressive. Jason Kelce cannot. And I blame officiating a little bit because they're very selective in when they want to call these penalties. But Jason knows, he's aware that they might call this. That was a 3rd and short. Now you're in a 3rd and medium. When you're in a 3rd and medium, you do a HB or dive or QB draw, whatever the play is.
You're going to pick it up.
Just situationally. And again, Hurts turnovers, being aggressive in times you don't need to be aggressive. It's these small details that over and over again, they moved the ball well last night. Everything looked good. EPA per play success rate was very good across the board. Some areas we know they're not good. Early on 1st and 2nd downs, they're not the best team on 1st down. We know that. They're not the best team on 2nd down. But overall, across the board, they were moving the ball well. They were having success. It's just they're undoing all of this success just tenfold with all of these turnovers and mistakes that they're making. That can't happen. And I guess if you need to point a certain finger for that, I would have to point it at coaching and really head coach Nick Sirianni for that.
All right. That's one way you could look at last night's loss. And no one's going to argue with that. I think, like you said, it's not just specific to one unit. And I don't think essentially one player is at fault either. But I am going to point the finger squarely at Jalen Hurts. It was a bad game by Jalen Hurts. In a game that, hey, look, I understand he gave it his all. He was under the weather. But, man, this is a franchise quarterback, and we're going to get more to him because he's a question number 3. So forgive me on that. But bottom line is last night, 2 interceptions, now leading the league or tied for the lead in the league as far as turnovers are concerned. Just terrible decision-making. And, again, I'm not one of these guys that wants to sit here and be the all-22 guy, but the few plays that I have seen so far, there's just guys running wide open. Take the checkdowns, right? Like you got Gainwell out of the backfield. You got DeAndre Swift out of the backfield. Dallas Goedert in the middle of the field. You know, he is just, the pocket is perfect, and he's escaping, getting out of there as soon as possible. Just a bad game by Jalen Hurts. He is the franchise quarterback. He is the guy that just got that unbelievable contract in the offseason. Yeah, you're damn right. It falls squarely on his shoulders. And I don't think he's calling anybody out or pointing fingers or anything along those lines. He's frustrated. This team is frustrated. They open up the game last night, and they drive right down the field, and he scores the touchdown, right? So he's got good, but, man, his bad are just weighing this team down right now. And in a game against the Seattle Seahawks on the road, You win that football game if you don't turn the ball over. And he did it twice. And that's where it comes down to me. It's Jalen Hurts. That's it.
Yeah, and again, it's just in the small details of that because there are guys running open, and I don't think Jalen is reading things incorrectly. I just think
I do.
I think there is a difference to me in a quarterback not reading. Zach Wilson can't read things right, so he doesn't know where linebackers are. He isn't sure where safeties are. I think the difference between what Hurts is doing and what a quarterback like Zach Wilson's doing is he's being aggressive for no reason. Like, quarterbacks take risks in the NFL. Josh Allen, by the way, leads the league in turnovers. Patrick Mahomes is right behind them. Trevor Lawrence is right behind them. All quarterbacks that are ultra aggressive, also really good and have to be aggressive. But Jalen Hurts is not selecting that, I would say, as well as those guys. And Jalen Hurts' turnovers are meaning a lot more. And again, I saw that number. The win probability has changed on Jalen Hurts' turnovers a lot more than they have with those guys like Mahomes and Lawrence and Allen. So that is, to me, telling me that Jalen Hurts doesn't know when to take those risks, when to be aggressive. And that's an adjustment that could be made. Patrick Mahomes had to go through that adjustment. Josh Allen had to go through that adjustment. All those quarterbacks did. But Jalen Hurts, to me, that's a small detail that he's just not getting right. But it can be corrected.
Eight turnovers last year. He did not do that last year. And that's the difference.
He did fumble, though. The one thing I will say is if you're upset about fumbles, then last year should have been an indicator to you. He's done this every year of his career.
Absolutely. Well,
so
and
the
look,
fumbles is one thing.
He's a scrambling quarterback, and he's a guy that wants to go out there and make plays. Absolutely.
And he's going to try and get extra yards. I am okay with fumbles. Obviously, I'm not okay with it, but I understand. See, the thing about turnovers is I understand risk. Risk is okay to me. And if it sometimes lead to turnovers, I'm okay with it because I know it's going to lead, especially with Hurts running, to success. But the interceptions are a different thing. That's where I think he's taking unnecessary risks.
The Quez Watkins, come on.
You can't do that.
No.
And then even at the end of the game,
to number 11, you don't do that to Quez Watkins.
Even at the end of the game, that's reckless at the end.
Yeah.
Reckless.
When all you needed was a field goal. It's just like, why not give Jake Elliott a shot? All right, question number 2. Let's stay with the Eagles theme here on Philly Exchange. And are the Eagles a threat? Jansen, I'll come to you again to start here. Just a simple question. Are they a threat right now in your mind?
No, I think you got to look at them a lot differently. They're not a threat. I can still say they might still surprise, though. That's the kind of role that they're in now, is that they can still they have beaten Buffalo. They have beaten Kansas City. They have beaten Dallas. They know how to beat these teams, or at least not know, but they're talented enough to beat these teams. It's just, can the right game present itself to them where their defense is probably going to get shredded, but can they create some turnovers? Can they make some big plays happen? They didn't get any explosive plays against Seattle, and that's been a big thing, explosive plays, but they have been able to. They got really explosive plays against Buffalo. They were able to get some against Kansas City. So it's just, if the right game presents itself, they can beat Dallas still. They can beat San Francisco. But obviously it gets a lot tougher. So threat, no. Threat, I don't think they are. To me, they now take on a much different role of they could certainly surprise. I wouldn't be surprised if they lose in the wild card in the first round.
Yeah.
I also wouldn't be surprised if they get to the NFC Championship game.
Oof. I would be shocked.
I understand right now.
I'd be shocked if we're talking about
would
NFC
not.
Championship game.
Would you really be that shocked with the kind of players on this roster? We would be shocked if they go, okay, well, they've gotten some things right, corrected some things, maybe not everything, but they're clearly talented enough that they were able to get by in some games and reach the NFC Championship game. I would not be shocked.
They're a good team, that have put themselves in the right position to come out on those close games, but they're not blowing anybody out. And maybe they're
certainly not doing that.
Maybe they could sneak a win in the opening round, but they're not going to win another one. They're not going to win back-to-back games against good opponents. And especially in that second round, you know what the teams will be there. I got it right in front of me right now. The Rams are currently holding the 7th seed. If the Rams are taking on the Eagles at Lincoln Financial Field in the opening round of the playoffs, are you taking the Rams or are you taking the Eagles? Because I know I'm taking the Rams. Vikings, I can get there with you. Bucks, Baker Mayfield. That's the thing about this Eagles team. Look, they rolled down to Tampa. That was a complete dominating game by the Eagles. But this team right now, this Bucks squad, playing at a much different level right now. Mike Evans would feast on the secondary for the Eagles. I think that's a coin flip at best.
But you say
Lions all day. I told you a couple weeks ago I would take the Lions against the Eagles, and here we are right now. Absolutely would take the Lions against the Eagles.
But that's where I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment right now.
A prisoner of the moment?
Yes,
John, they're going to lose to the Giants one of the two times. They will lose one of the two times to the Giants. This is a bad football team. This is a prisoner of the moment.
Right now, though. It's right now. We know that the floor is low now. We know that these mistakes that they're making are certainly going to cost them games, and they have. They cost them against the Jets. It's no surprise that they have lost to teams like the Jets and the Seahawks with Zach Wilson and Drew Lock, because they beat themselves up. But we also know the ceiling to that, though. We also know that they can beat Buffalo. We also know they can beat Kansas City. We know that they can beat Dallas.
That team is gone.
And
that team is gone,
but
man.
it can very easily come back. Like, how do you think it's just going to all fall apart that quickly? They're way too talented for that to happen, because they were better in this game. They played bad against San Francisco, played bad against Dallas. This one, it was self-inflicted wounds that happened, but still
against
they played better. Though.
That was being quarterbacked by Drew Lock.
I get this is
inexcusable.
This is the NFL, though. It changes every single week.
Well,
there's so much change.
I'm with you. Maybe not so much week to week. I'm with you because, as I said, Tampa Bay, a much different team than what they were in week 3, and the Eagles beat them. That's a squad right now.
But Tampa Bay was
rolling.
playing well going into that game. Then they sucked for a while. Yeah. Now they're playing somewhat well again. But Baker Mayfield can turn into a pumpkin like that. I mean, how do we get? How can we just take the results of this week, what happened, and just think that's what it is? Because even the Rams aren't perfect. The Rams aren't that great. I'd be worried because the way Stafford's playing. Yeah. Stafford's definitely very good. They got some weapons on offense. But their defense isn't great. And their offense, they almost gave up that lead to Washington. Jacoby Brissett came in for 2 drives and torched them. So these teams aren't perfect either, but we know the talent for the Eagles, the talent level's still good. And even a game like Seattle, where they played bad and the Eagles are begging to lose that game, they still were able to have some success and move the ball. You correct some of these mistakes, you're better than Tampa, you're better than the Rams.
You are on an island. I don't think there are many people that are feeling like you right now.
I understand, and I understand after a loss like that. I get it.
But it's just, I think you're I don't know.
And
like
maybe,
I said, this
and
team,
there's a chance the Eagles don't correct it, but how can I sit here and say that they can't do it? That they physically aren't capable of playing better, because we have seen it even this season, a few weeks ago, that they were playing better. We knew some of these things would come back to haunt them, but that doesn't mean that they're just going to all of a sudden spiral so far out of control that they just become the worst team in the playoffs. They just
replaced their defensive coordinator and tried to sweep it underneath the rug.
Not great.
There are things happening right now. You got players. You got players calling out people on social media. You got Jalen Hurts. Take it for what it is in your mind, to each their own.
But what is the cure that you always say? What's the cure to all of that?
Winning.
Just win.
Yeah,
win one, and it all changes.
Yeah, well, when Tommy Cutlets comes in for 2 out of these 3 times, and he actually throws for 2 touchdowns, and they beat him 1 time. Saquon's going to run. Saquon's going to run in this squad. They're 10.5-point favorites. Are you kidding me? What's the matter with these people?
10.5-point favorites for a reason.
All right. Well, you can give me the 10.5. I'll take the Giants. You want to do that bet? I'll take the Giants on Chris. I didn't think so. All right. Question number 3.
Would you really take the Giants?
Absolutely, I would. Absolutely. You're giving me double digits?
I don't know how you're so confident in that.
Eagles have no business giving anybody double digits right now. Come on.
It's the New York Giants with Tommy DeVito a quarterback.
And Saquon Barkley. That's all that matters. Okay. They have dude.
Did you watch it? Tommy DeVito is not the best quarterback on the active roster right now.
These linebackers are terrible. I don't care who the quarterback is. They don't need a quarterback. Drew Lock beat them. Drew Lock.
Okay.
Stop it.
Drew Lock didn't even play that well.
Come on, man. You are definitely.
These quarterbacks beat themselves up. These quarterbacks definitely beat themselves up.
10.5. I'll take it all day. Question number 3. I'll start here. Jalen Hurts he's vanished. He's disappeared. He's gone. Where is this guy that was last season's quarterback? Where is the guy that was, leading the charge against that Tampa Bay team, against Minnesota? Where is he? The guy that wouldn't make the mistakes, throw the interceptions, lead this team down there, make the plays. He's got moments where you're like, all right, there he is, but then he just disappears. He vanishes. Gone, up in a cloud of smoke. Dude, $255 million. The expectations are through the roof. You got to deliver. And he's not doing that right now. That loss last night, as I said, was squarely on his shoulders. He is leading the league in turnovers. You can't do that and expect to win in the NFL. It doesn't get much easier than that. You want to win? You can't check the box of, yeah, we turned the ball over more than the other team. You're not going to win. And he's doing that. He's the one that's killing this squad, not seeing the open receivers, not delivering. Man, I can't believe what's happened to Jalen Hurts this season. It is definitely concerning. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say it's squarely all on him because we have to be honest with Sirianni and Jansen. And we talked about it yesterday. Shane Steichen was pretty damn good. I think it's fair to say that right now with what's happening in Indianapolis. He was extremely important to this offense last year. So that's missing. Jalen Hurts is regressing, and I don't think Sirianni and Jansen are making life easy for him. And oh, by the way, I do want to put this in there. He is dealing with a bum knee, and he was sick last night. So we have to throw that into the conversation. But putting that to the side, the last couple games has been atrocious. Been absolutely atrocious with Sirianni, with Jansen, a three-headed monster, all thumbs down right now in the month of December going back to November. November 1st, they beat Kansas City, I think. So if you want to put that game to the side, other than that, it's just been a bad run for this squad. Jalen Hurts is disappearing right before our very eyes.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty blunt for me. Jalen Hurts is bad, but bad, for now. It's definitely a bad stretch. He's definitely not playing well, but this is still a very good quarterback. All quarterbacks go through this. Jalen Hurts, in no way. I warned you about this when they signed him that contract, and I go, everybody's going to go nuts when he doesn't play like he did last season, because last season was perfect. Last season does not happen for every quarterback all the time. Mahomes isn't his best every single year.
But does it have to be so far?
Yes.
Like, isn't there a medium? Can there be a happy medium?
Josh Allen
Can there be like,
Josh Allen was losing his team games. We went through an entire year where we're going, why can't Patrick Mahomes beat two deep safeties? What is going on? We do this every single time with quarterbacks, but then we start getting the takes like, well, Josh Allen isn't the best, or Patrick Mahomes, is he really that good? We start doing all of that. Quarterbacks are going to play bad. Jalen Hurts was not going to play perfect for every game for the rest of his career. There are going to be bad games. There are going to be duds. Jalen Hurts is not a perfect quarterback. And especially some of the things do come back to haunt him. The fact that he isn't the best in the pocket, the fact that he does have a fumble problem is going to come back and haunt him at times. We know this, but the level of play can get very good. I am confident, while I do think Jalen Hurts is bad, but the for now is I'm confident that Jalen Hurts is a good enough player to correct these things at some point. Josh Allen did it this season. We have an example of it, of Josh Allen playing horrendous football. Literally did the same thing that Hurts did. Lost the game against the Jets where Zach Wilson wasn't doing anything. And Josh Allen has been able to correct those mistakes. Now, Joe Brady came in and they were able to change some things up, and that certainly helped.
Yep.
But Josh Allen himself is playing much better football. I think Jalen Hurts needs to adjust to what defenses are doing to him. Brian Baldinger pointed it out. They were playing two deep safeties against Jalen Hurts. They basically were saying, we're not giving you an explosive play down the field. We're going to basically make sure you have negative plays because of your aggressiveness. We are going to use that against you. And Jalen Hurts is being too aggressive right now. I get it, but that's something that can be changed. I hate this comparison to Carson Wentz because Jalen Hurts is not doing Carson.
No one's comparing him to
It is happening. Well,
come on.
Eagles,
one tweet.
Not one tweet. Eagles fans have PTSD because of it.
Stop.
Let's be real. They do. Eagles fans do. They have PTSD because Carson Wentz turned into one of the worst quarterbacks. He was the worst quarterback in the league that year in 2020.
I'm not even thinking about Carson Wentz. I'm thinking about about Jalen Hurts, who got a contract specifically right reasons. I'm not denying that whatsoever. But basically,
and he's still a $250 million quarterback.
His game last year was insane.
Yes.
And
that's not going to happen every year.
But
Lamar
John,
Jackson
these
is
are
4
the
years
expectations. If you want to be a top 5 quarterback in the league, you got to perform like one. And clearly he's not right now.
Okay, but he's still a top 10 quarterback.
All day.
And you pay that $250 million.
I'm not.
And at times, Jalen Hurts can play like a top 5 quarterback. But you're not going to get Patrick Mahomes has also set an unrealistic expectation. Even a bad year.
You keep bringing up Mahomes and Josh Allen. These guys have been in the league.
We compare every quarterback to
6 years. Like Jalen Hurts has what? He's got the 1 year as a starter.
When they lost.
Hang on.
Okay.
When they lost to Tampa and last year, that is a whole different scenario than Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. right? Like, do we think we really know who Jalen Hurts is at this point in time? I'm wondering because I know who Josh Allen is. I know who Patrick Mahomes is.
Do we know who Josh Allen is?
Absolutely.
Because he started playing bad, and then everybody thought that he just wasn't good.
Had a bad start to the season.
Yes, because quarterbacks are allowed to be bad. That's my whole point in this, is quarterbacks should be allowed to be bad. There are going to be bad plays, bad games, bad stretches. Jalen Hurts should be allowed to be bad, because there still is so much good, and he's also proven to us that he can correct these things, that he has been better. He's falling on some bad tendencies that he had in college and earlier in his career, but we've also seen him fix those things. So I think
he's been in the league for I mean, literally, this is his third season as a starting quarterback, right?
And
like we're still you think you really know Jalen Hurts, right? You think like this dude is concrete 100% going to be that dude for the next 2 to 3 seasons.
Yes.
Okay.
How are we even questioning that?
I don't know.
I mean, I can question if Jalen
last night, man. That's a tough loss last night. You got to go on the road and find a way to win. This is crunch time.
They're not always going to find a way, though. You know, you can't always find a way. Sometimes it's just not your game, not your year, not your week,
if you're
not
a
your
team
month.
with
it
championship
happens.
aspirations, you got to find a way to win those games.
You don't win the championship every year, though.
He did not. Yeah, but come on, man. We're talking about getting and making a run here. We're talking about this is when you got to start ramping things up. This was the part of the schedule that no one was talking about. Seattle and the Giants and the Cardinals. Everybody was talking about the Dallas, the Kansas City, and the Buffalo games. These games were put to the side. These are games you got to win. And right now, again, they're 10.5-point favorites against the Giants. I know where I stand on this one. Again, I don't think that the Giants are going to win, but I'll take the points on that one.
Yeah, I just don't think we have to lose confidence in the talent. Jalen Hurts has clearly displayed enough talent.
He's leaving a lot up for question for me right now.
Every quarterback goes through this. Why let quarterbacks play bad games?
I'm focusing.
It's okay to have bad games.
I'm focusing on Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts is not a top 3 to 5 quarterback. I think we can just say that he's not, but he's still a top 10 quarterback, and he still did them really good play, and he has before. And I think he can find that. There's enough talent that I think around him to find that a lot faster than certain situations. In certain situations, it is tough because everything else is falling apart around you. I don't know if we're there yet. They're talented around him. They have great receivers around him, and I think there still is a good offensive structure because of the talent there that Jalen Hurts can figure this out. But yeah, he's playing bad for now. Every quarterback does. No quarterback is perfect. No quarterback has played every single game perfect their entire career. Bad games happen, and Jalen Hurts just so happens to be having it at a bad time, but it doesn't mean he can't correct it in a better time in the future in the next 3 games of the regular season and into the playoffs.
From your lips to his ears, my friend, I'm with you. I'm with you. I'll believe it when I see it. On to the next one. Sixers. Dude, they're dominating right now. Of course, perfect. Last night. Yeah, nice work there.
Nobody watched that game, so.
Specifically, Joel Embiid, though. He's averaging 40 points in the month of December. First center since Shaquille O'Neal 22 years ago to have 11 consecutive games, 30-plus points and 10 rebounds. Credit to John Clark on that one for the stats there. Again, this squad continuing to beat up on the bad opponents, but bottom line, they're 18-8. It is December. Long way to go. Are the Sixers a title contender in your mind? John Jansen, you go first.
No, it feels like they're just missing that one piece. And I think that's the one thing that's going to continue to come up over and over again. We are getting much better play out of Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey. They are taking steps forward. They're playing great. They're winning games. Joel Embiid's, making history. And, I know there's some that are going to laugh at it, brush it aside because Joel Embiid hasn't been out of the second round of the playoffs and he's played bad in the playoffs. But there are differences and things that he's doing better previously than he is now. He's doing things better now, and that's a good sign. But title contenders, no, I think they're still missing something. I still think they're missing another piece. And until that happens, I don't think that they can compete on the level like Boston and some of the other teams in the East.
Here you go. I believe it. Yes, they are. They are title contenders. And I said this yesterday on the hit, and I do believe it, where to me, this is the deepest Sixers team that I've seen in quite some time. That second unit, again, I'm not sitting here saying it should shake you to your core if you're, an elite center or somebody out there in the NBA. But when you roll out Pat Bev, Morris, Oubre, Paul Reed, look, that's a decent secondary unit. And there's been a lot of times when Joel Embiid has come off the floor in years past, and next thing you know, a 12-point lead vanishes, so on and so forth. So that's number one. The depth is definitely number one. Number two, Nick Nurse, the approach, the ingenuity, the thinking through a game, having direction, being able to bob when they weave, making adjustments throughout the course of the game. It's real. And I get it. We're only 25 games in, whatever it is, to this season. But again, the small sample size, and I don't know if you would qualify it as small, right? Significant so far. I'm a believer in Nick Nurse. Always was. And I'm loving the fact that he is now running the 76ers. And then to the big man, Joel Embiid has taken a step up this year. There's no doubt about it in my mind that he is a much better player this year than he was last year. Just attacking, ferocious. The defensive numbers are there. Joel Embiid, from what he was doing last year in the MVP season, to me, I think you're going to give it right back to him if you're honest with your assessment. But again, we know how voters operate on that. So I'm not going to get too carried away in the MVP discussion. But I absolutely do believe that the 76ers are a championship contender. And I think years past, we probably would say, yes, they are. And of course, the PTSD that you brought up with Carson Wentz, it's there with the second round losings and the failures to advance. Look, Boston's great. Milwaukee's solid. But you could put the Sixers up there. I think the Sixers can beat them in a 7-game series. I've had enough of saying it. You got to do it. You got to do it when the time is right. And the same thing is going on with the Clippers out in LA. They're pretty dominant as well. But both of those teams, I think, are absolutely championship contenders this season. We'll see.
We'll see. Obviously, they're going to have to do a lot of convincing when it matters in the playoffs. But all signs are pointing to improvement, which is good.
Absolutely. All right. Question number 5, Philly Exchange. We wish you a Merry Christmas.
We wish you a Merry Christmas.
All right.
You don't have any like jingle bells or anything?
I do.
Are you going to have sleigh bells or something?
Sleigh bells are...
just even sleigh bell sounds.
You know how something. We were up against it. Anyways, one Xmas wish for any Philadelphia sports team. You got the floor, my friend.
So I won't even go to the Eagles improving. I won't even go to the Phillies getting Yoshinobu Yamamoto.
That was going to be one of mine, yeah.
Mine's actually, it's going to be the Sixers, and I'm going to piggyback of what we talked about. I want to enjoy Embiid. I want to enjoy the amazing run that he's on. Get him past this, just past the second round, because I see it from, national media members. I see it from, guys in the gambling space. It's Joel Embiid's doing these amazing things, but it's dismissed so quickly because he hasn't done anything tangible in the playoffs. I want for Christmas, Joel Embiid to finally get past the second round, and we can appreciate the fact that this guy has not only been playing like an MVP for the past 2 to 3 seasons, MVP type player, but that he is improving. He's actually improving his game in different areas every single year. You don't see that often. You don't see stars work that hard to improve their game. I love what I'm seeing from Embiid. I love the player. I love watching him. I just want to enjoy it without the asterisk and the caveat of he doesn't do it in the playoffs. Please, I want that to go away.
All right. I am going with Yamamoto. I also called him Morimoto yesterday on the hit, which was a great call.
Enough.
So when he does sign, we'll go down to Morimoto's and have sushi. How about that? Yes, Yamamoto is my Christmas wish. And it's from the simple standpoint of this, 162. It's the longest season. Right. And we know in those dog days of summer and the June and the July and the August, look, we're filling up the ballpark. It was impressive to see last year, but it's only going to get us down there more if you put Yamamoto in that rotation. His stuff is just ridiculous. Some of the images or the pictures, the videos that I'm seeing right now on the timeline of him pitching across seas, insane. So he would be one of these guys that just creates the buzz, and he would back it up because his stuff is that filthy. So I think it would only beef up this rotation to another level. Wheeler, if he's able to continue on his path, and no doubt in my mind, of course, Nola coming back, and you add him into the mix, 162, as I said, the longest season, my Christmas wish, easy. Yamamoto to the Phillies.
That's a good one.
Bryce Harper, we'll see what he's got.
The ultimate pitch man.
Hey, if he called me, I'd be answering. All right.
Would you? I don't know.
30 seconds.
I'll probably let it go to voicemail
on the clock here. Go right ahead. 30 seconds. Get anything off your chest, sir.
I do. So I want to get back to what I was saying and maybe just express that point a little bit more. Let quarterbacks be bad. Let them have bad games without us having sweeping takes about them. Let Trevor Lawrence have a bad game. Let Jalen Hurts have a bad game. Let Josh Allen have a bad game. Let Justin Herbert have a bad game. For the love of God, these guys aren't perfect. None of them are. And every single time one of these guys misses one pass, all of a sudden the world is the world is crumbling. These guys are terrible. I can't believe we're overrating Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, Trevor Lawrence. Let these guys be bad. For the love of God, everybody's allowed to.
No.
But quarterbacks, for some reason, one bad series, and it's this guy's terrible.
I'm not saying that. That's the toughest position in sports. That's all there is to it. You know it. Anyways, my 30 seconds is simple. Enjoy the holidays. It's been a hell of a run for us here in 2023.
You want me to enjoy the holidays?
Yeah.
With what happened last night, you want me to enjoy
the
holidays?
Turn on the TV at 4:30. Just don't. Don't watch. All right.
Maybe just check the score at halftime and see if it's safe.
Don't watch. No, everybody enjoy the holidays. Show some love to your family. Avoid the political discussions and don't watch the birds. That's my advice for this holiday season. All right. Fun stuff as always. Got a little heated, got a little hot. We like that. Anyways, you can find us on the Daily Ticket Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. John Jansen. I am Sean Brace. This is another edition of Philly Exchange.